Our next guest, a very talented actor you know from his breakout role as Dustin Henderson in Stranger Things, as well as his work on Broadway in shows such as Dear Evan Hansen, Sweeney Todd, and Les Miserables. He stars in the new comedy Pizza Movie, which is streaming now on Hulu. Let's take a look.
These duds?
Guess so. Want to play Wizard's Oath?
No, we can't. We need 3 people.
I could play.
No, it'd take too long to teach you the rules.
Oh, no.
Are you ready, kids? Here we go! Everything's nice, everything's happy, everything's nice, everything's
Why are our hands
happy.
singing?
No one's gonna die today.
Please welcome to the show, Gaten Matarazzo, everybody!
I'm very well. It's so
That's
having me on.
as clips go, that's one of the weirder ones.
I figured it's. I was like, is that the clip they're using? That's the clip they're using.
Yeah.
I would like to say that in context it makes more sense, but I don't think that would be necessarily very true.
It's really impressive that you went from Stranger Things to something weirder.
Yeah.
Like, people will look back, that was his, like, very normal stuff.
That was the normal stuff for sure. That was the goal.
That was the goal.
Yeah, I think so.
Congratulations on
Thanks,
Stranger
man.
Things.
Appreciate it, man.
An incredible run. And it does, I think one of the things that everybody sort of enjoyed about how it all wrapped up was, one, you know, obviously the work on screen, but it was very special to watch, one, you guys grow up together, and it did seem like there was a real closeness to that group of people.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And they're family. I mean, like you said, we grew up together. It's we worked on it for a decade, and it's a long time to do anything, but especially during such formative years of our lives, it was basically half of our lives up to that point, so it was nuts.
You know, obviously I was on a show for 10 years, and
Yes,
we were
of
a little bit
course.
older when I did it, but like that same thing where you're just like with a group of people that long. And I feel like, I don't know, there's some similarities. I saw you and Finn getting interviewed once, and the way you were doing bits, like it was like you were kind of talking past the interviewer, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like watching Bill and Fred do an interview.
Yes, we felt terrible. It was probably like along like the part of the day where we were just probably pretty gassed out, like at that point, and we just kept on going.
But it was fun to realize, like, you guys obviously, you were delighting each other, which is my favorite thing to watch on camera.
Yes.
Finn hosted us. Now
Yes,
you got to show up.
Oh,
You got
man,
to show
it was the
up.
best.
We were.
Oh, he was great. His episode was unreal.
And we were saying backstage,
so fun.
very, very nice to be able to experience SNL
Incredible.
as a +1.
Exactly. That's the thing, is that you got to see the chaos unfold, and there's no pressure whatsoever. So I got to watch him go through the monologue and have the whole week of prep, and I was talking to him the whole time, and him his pants over it, and we were like, all right, I guess I'll show up on Saturday. And yeah, it was the best. It's incredible. I don't know how you did that for as long as you did.
Barely.
Yeah, sure.
The answer is
That's what I
barely.
did.
Another thing, pressure, I would imagine, is the finale of Stranger Things, and you know, obviously, desperately wanting to nail the landing. And you guys, I was actually in theaters.
Yes,
you
it
wanted to
was.
see it in theaters.
Very much so.
But
that was very special.
you also did not, who could blame you, did not want all the extra attention of you being you going to see it. So you had a plan.
A little bit, yeah.
What was your plan to avoid detection?
Man. So there was a little bit of context leading up to this. I was just gonna go. I was in Florida visiting my mom. She lives there. We were there for Christmas, and I wanted like to be able to go and enjoy like festivities where she lived, but kind of just not get recognized as much. So I dressed up as the Grinch.
So you went to the movie as the Grinch. But you kind of, you didn't. Well, by the way, I'm not judging. I would have also thought this was a good idea, but of course it wasn't a good idea.
No, it had the adverse effect. I feel like more people came up to me and asked me for pictures because I was dressed up like the Grinch in a public setting.
Like if I was in a mall at Christmas and a Grinch was walking around, I would think you were there to take pictures.
Of course. And it ended up happening. But I got to, like, I don't know, I got to have more fun. I got to do more bits as the Grinch. I think, because then they could be like, man, that kid who was the Grinch was a real jerk. But I feel like I'd be okay with that.
So we watched the clip. It's a pizza movie. This is it's a really funny premise. Just to explain the clip a little bit.
Please.
You guys take some, you and your friend take some hallucinogenic drugs.
Yes.
there's 6 unique stages
Yes.
in how you're going to hallucinate.
Yes.
And the only way to stop the sort of awful 6th stage is to go down 2 floors and get a pizza you
And
ordered.
grab our pizza.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a fictional experimental hallucinogenic that we find in our dorm.
Yeah.
And these phases are kind of representative of classic stoner comedy tropes, and they increase with absurdity over the course of the night. And it's just the attempt of how insane could we make the mundane task of ordering food while you're high be into a movie. And I think I think we succeeded in that for sure.
The visual representation of it is great, but what was it like when you first read the script? Could you see it?
Oh man,
Like, could you picture
yes.
what it was going to be? Yeah.
For the most part, there was a lot of stuff that they admitted they knew that there was going to be tweaks and there were going to be edits as to how things were going to wrap up and where they were going to end up and different ideas of like who was going to end up with who and what it was going to look like. And I was excited about being on board for those conversations. And I just remember reading it and thinking that I was never going to read anything like it again. So if I'm going to pass it up, I have to really consider if I would feel very left out of a very fun experience.
It doesn't seem like you can't be like, I'll pass on this one, and the next one, like it, I'll do.
Yeah, that was never gonna happen
Yeah.
again. It's like, the next head exploding sequence that lasts 3 minutes, that happens too in the movie.
Yeah.
Or if we say curse words, our heads explode, and so we have to navigate our way, even though I have a very foul mouth, so I find it difficult. You should watch it.
Yeah. You got your start on Broadway.
Yeah.
How old were you when you were in Les Mis?
I started Les Mis. I started touring with Les Mis when I was 10, and then they transferred to Broadway when I was 11.
That's a crazy age.
A long time ago.
What is what era is this from? What are you doing
This is
here?
the Broadway era. This is at 54 Below.
That's
And
fantastic.
there was a little cabaret that the cast of Les Mis did, I think, probably on a Sunday night. Oh yeah, I think a
so
Sunday night.
you're an 11 or whatever, 12-year-old cabaret performer
cabaret
as well.
performer. And this is my friend Joshua Colley. He's in Hadestown right now.
That's
you guys should go see him do
fantastic.
that. He's brilliant.
What sort of songs are you guys singing on a night like that? Do you know?
We sang at this night. We sang "All for the Best" from Godspell, which is a classic. But the pitch of the show was it was called Beyond the Barricade. So it was like songs that are not show tune related, songs that you would sing in the shower. And because we were 11 in the theater, the only songs we really knew and grew up on were more. It was more musical theater, yes, but of course. So we sang some of that.
That's
you can watch it if
fantastic.
you want.
Also very exciting. I'm very excited for Animated Animal Farm. Andy Serkis.
A lot of things.
Lot of things.
Thank you for all these plugs. This is very nice
No,
of
of
you.
course. But I'm very excited to watch this.
Thanks.
Andy Serkis directed it.
Andy
He's
Serkis.
fantastic.
He's wonderful. Very
And
talented.
which animal do you voice in this one?
I voiced Lucky the Pig.
Great.
Who, yes, he is a pig, which is actually very fun. Yes, indeed. It's actually a newer character written in the film that is kind of acts as the lens of how to look upon Animal Farm in the eyes of the screen, which has always been hard to do because, of course, in the novel it's eerily told in an unbiased kind of perspective.
Yeah.
And they thought a really interesting way of introducing that would be through the eyes of a young pig who's very, very little and seeing everything unfold around him, but also in a position of great privilege. I'm sure most people here have read Animal Farm, and it doesn't go well. And so they thought that was an interesting idea and perspective to introduce. So I play that young lad.
I'm just so delighted to have you here finally, man. I'm a big
Me
fan.
too.
Thank you
Likewise,
so much for
dude.
being here. You guys, this is Gaten
Thanks, guys.
Matarazzo.
Thanks
Thanks
so
for
much.
streaming now. We'll be right back with Dan Vickerman.
Oh, thank you.